Hey, Chris here with Simply Japanese Maples, and today we are revisiting a tree, an Acer palmatum, that was pollard pruned, so pollarded by the previous homeowner, and we've been working on it now for the last 3 winters to try and bring it back to health. Today I'm taking off a couple of fairly good-sized limbs, and we'll get into that and what's happening with that. What's happening with this tree is basically we've been trying to bring it back into a healthy shape ever since we came into possession of it. So the tree was pollarded, which means that basically the limbs were all hacked off at a certain level, which is the absolute worst thing you can do to a Japanese maple. So you're removing all that beautiful branch structure and you're lopping it off, turning it into a fruit tree and creating a whole host of other problems. So let's look at the tree and see what needs to get done here, and we'll sort of revisit some of the problems that you can see happening here as it also relates to our climate here. Okay, so directly behind me, right above my head here, this guy here. So this is a prominent example of what's kind of happened here is that this tree was pollarded at several different locations. So initially they did that down lower and eventually they did it up higher. Now, because of our climate, where it's a colder climate than say a coastal environment, what happens is you get moisture going into the cut ends and in under the bark, and then you get frost, and then it starts to open up that bark, and you're exposing it then to disease and insects. And that is precisely what's happened with this tree. There's a number of locations that have bark completely peeling off in large chunks, and in a couple instances we've got these fully bare sort of ends, and also we're having to continually remove branches that have died, which of course is the absolute worst case scenario. So it's a bit of a mess. The tree is starting to look better and better all the time as we slowly start to shape it, but the problems that have persisted as a result of this pollarded technique is really unfortunate. Okay, so here's a close-up of what I was talking with here. So right where this tape is, the flagging tape, that's where we're going to be cutting in that area. You can see all this stuff above there is dried out, it's flaked up, and everything has died above that. Obviously it's tough to tell right now, but that's all died. There are branches below here which are still viable and fresh, newer, but again, so what's happened is they cut here originally, and then this grew out, and then later they cut there, made a similar cut there years later, and they did the same thing with the tree all around. So over there you can see that pink flagging tape, and so that's another area, another branch that has to be completely removed. Over here you can see a spot that was cut before, and now over time all this bark is flaked off, and just open it right up to the potential for disease and insects. Fortunately, this branch is very, very healthy, and so that doesn't seem to have been a problem. And even here, so this was an original spot that was cut, and it's just really turned to a bit of a mess, a lot of scarring, a lot of, bark flaking open. It just really becomes quite the mess and really compromises the health of your tree. So all is not lost for this tree. It is really unfortunate that we've had to kind of take branches off year after year and prune it and such to kind of return that good health and good form to that tree. If you follow the first couple of videos, you'll see a bit more about the effects of that pollarding, what kind of happens with the growth, and it becomes a bit of a nuisance actually in terms of how much work you have to do to actually shape it back into a reasonable shape. So anyways guys, thanks for tuning in. Spring is getting here, it's super exciting. Pretty soon we're going to have some new trees. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.